All right, now it's official. Justin Lutz, welcome to Ghoulish.
Hi,
Uh,
Max.
I'll tell you something I love to say is "Give Unto Us" by Justin Lutz. It's really fun to say. I don't know if you say it often, but I don't know if you pick the title because it kind of it's like a sing-song thing that goes with your name, but it's pretty cool.
I didn't, but it's a happy accident, a fringe benefit.
So you're a musician, so maybe it's just like automatic, really you.
Yeah, unintentionally lyrical, it might be. It very
Yeah.
well might be.
Are you now the band's done, right? It just ended.
One of my bands is done. Reservoir, that was my band for 13-ish years, finally
Okay.
finished. But I'm in a band called Tree Knock still that I play guitar in. It's like a hardcore band based around Bigfoot and cryptids.
Oh, nice. Uh, so do you guys have like any albums out people could buy on like Bandcamp?
We do. We have two EPs out on Bandcamp and Spotify. They're just First Encounter and Second Encounter because we're leaning into the theme.
What's the next one going to be called?
Third Encounter.
Nice. Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you consider yourself a bit of a punk, is that right?
I'd say that's accurate, sure.
Always? Is this a new thing?
Oh no, since I was like 14.
Oh, okay, cool. I didn't know if you just like found yourself as a punk recently or you
A,
know.
a 37-year-old convert. Yeah, sure.
It happens. I mean, some people get into Jehovah Witness stuff around this time. Some people become punks. What got you into the
Sure.
punk scene?
Um, Honestly, for a lot of people my age, I think it was the soundtrack to the first Tony Hawk Pro Skater game.
Yeah.
There was a lot of cool stuff on there. And then the Punk-O-Rama comps that Epitaph put out were like $4 at the mall.
Yeah.
So I just bought all of those and then tried to collect everybody that was on those records. So
Yeah. My brother and I used to have a bunch of those, although we didn't buy any of them. It's not really punk to support capitalism.
sure.
We got 'em from a little website called LimeWire, which I don't think is exists now. I don't know. Um,
Does
any,
that
I
still exist?
don't think
I
so.
don't know.
I
Because
don't know.
I was a lot LimeWire and SoulSeek was a big one
Okay.
when I was younger. That was
Mhm.
full albums, but everything would come in tagged wrong.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff that like I thought was Black Flag songs that were not, or there was a lot of that mismanagement where I thought
Yeah.
like an album contained a bunch of songs and then it was wrong when I finally bought it.
Yeah, I had that a few times. The biggest example I can think of is for the longest time, I thought because of this issue that Good Charlotte was the band behind that. The song title is like in Latin, but it's like a really famous brand new song. It's like Six Simp. It's like the one about the guy stalking the woman,
Yeah,
which
sick trans
foreshadowing on
yeah. Sick Transit Gloria, I believe
that's
is
it.
yeah.
And I was a kid, like this song's amazing. I should get into Good Charlotte Mill, and Neville did. And then recently, really recently, I probably shouldn't begin a podcast admitting this. I've become a huge brand new fan.
I
Um,
understand. My wife and I are both big fans, and it's a point of great shame.
yeah, and I was listening to the album, and that song came on, and like I just it blew my mind. I had no one to go to like I could run up and like shake them and be like, "This song I was obsessed with as a kid. It's this band." There's no one I could just say that to. They wouldn't know what I was talking about. But yeah, like in the last 12 months, I've done nothing but listen to brand new and just all day long, every day. And at first, I was like, man, this band is so incredible. Why does no one talk about this band? And then I found out,
There's a recent reason
and I was like, oh, that makes sense. Well, guess I'll never talk about it on a podcast. Um,
until one with me.
yeah, I mean, you just give off brand new fan vibes, I guess. You'll the
I'll take it.
mostly because you admitted to being a fan like a minute ago. So that was a big indication.
Sure. That's totally fair.
So what's like the the most punk thing you've ever done, and what is the least punk thing you've ever done?
Oh man.
Yeah,
Uh Most punk, there's a handful of things because I spent a lot of times touring in a folk punk band. So
yeah,
we ate plenty of donuts at dumpsters, plenty of free pizza, that kind of like I was in a house in Ohio during the Kent State anniversary. So
Hmm.
like all these people had police scanners on for the riots and stuff for the anniversary of Kent State. So that felt pretty punk at the time.
Pretty
Um,
punk.
the least, I don't know, all my albums are on Spotify. I don't know. It's like pretty easily accessible corporate stuff. So
Also, your day job as a police officer.
yeah. Yeah, I keep forgetting to mention that.
You do silk screening, right?
Yeah.
That's the day
Yeah, I
job.
do. Yeah, I'm a screen printer. I work for someone else during the early morning and the day, and then I own my own screen printing business in the evening. So I do it for a long time every day.
Now, this might be a deep cut, but I've noticed on Facebook, you're selling like a giant machine for a lot of money on Facebook Marketplace because it keeps popping up on my feed. And I'm like, I'm not buying this. Is this a scam? What's going on with that?
It's it's not a scam. My day job recently upgraded, and I'm trying to help him sell the the old
All right.
stuff.
I don't know
But
why.
I love that you see it constantly. That's amazing.
Every time I'm on Facebook, it's the first thing I see. It keeps trying to get me to buy it. Uh,
You don't have $4,000 to ship something from Pennsylvania to Texas, Max?
I don't have real bucks, man. I'm broke. That's why I'm back doing podcasts. Um,
Oh,
but you actually,
lot of money in podcasting.
that's what I'm told. I think I'm supposed to I'm supposed to advertise things. So like, it's the only thing you want to advertise. I don't know if money would come to us then.
No, I don't
Uh,
think so. It's just my books that you put out, so that feels like a snake eating its own tail.
I mean,
So
I have them. I have them handy. Well,
excellent.
one of them's a book, one of them's a magazine. But I'll begin with the magazine because we were just talking about the day job. You wrote
Sure.
something for Ghoulish Tales issue 2 about what do you call this company? I'm gonna fuck it up.
Uh, we call it a screen printing company, is how we describe it. So
That's what I would have
yeah,
called it. Okay.
yeah. Yeah,
Any
the
go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, that silly old bullshit of write what you know. I guess like I felt like I should write a screen printing horror story at some point. I think there's a movie on Amazon Prime that is screen printing related, but I haven't found it yet or watched it. I've heard tale of it, like people keep recommending it to me. Um, but I think any job is rife for satirizing,
Hmm.
right? Like you should like take whatever you do and like make it a horrific thing. So
Yeah.
especially because I work around conveyor dryers and flash dry, all this heat all the time. And it was easy for me to be like, well, I'm mad when I have to print stuff for cops at my day job. So maybe this other guy is mad. He has to print shit for cops at his day job also to just get
Yeah.
by, right?
Maybe
So
that's the least punk thing you've done.
sure, it's like
Yeah.
not quitting my job anytime I have
Yeah.
to print something police related. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
probably it.
Yeah, like whenever the little cop comes in to buy one of the books we have, I'm like, nah, get out of here, cop. You can't buy a book. No cop has ever come into this shop.
I was gonna say, do you do that?
I am,
Or
no, I don't do that. I don't talk to
or do,
anyone.
do you take their money willingly?
I take anyone's money. I am across the street from the police station, so
Oh,
sometimes
really?
if I mute my mic, it's because a bunch of sirens will passing.
Sure.
This is the shop is located in a town called Selma, and it's so small it doesn't even have a zip code, like a post office. Uh, but like I'm right across the street from like the city hall, the police station, the fire station. It's like 2 streets long of a town. I don't know why they even bothered making it a town. Like just expand one of the other towns surrounding it. That would have made more sense. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know if any cops have come into the shop yet. I don't know what they would buy. What do you think cops read?
Oh shit. Don Winslow, though, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Probably.
100%. Yeah, yeah. This is just like me.
Or Michael Connolly. Yeah.
That seems right. If they read, I don't know. But
If they read,
if
yeah.
there was such a cop who read crime fiction, Don Winslow seems like the guy they would read. You read Don Winslow?
I haven't, and I don't know much about him, so I don't know if he's pro or critical of. Presumably he's pro, right?
No, he's critical of cops.
Oh, okay.
But he has
Well
written a
then,
lot about cops, so I don't know. Like, I don't know if if a cop reading it would be like, wait a second, I'm the bad guy.
well, I apologize to Don Winslow then. I wasn't aware. I
He's
haven't
like,
read anything.
he's pretty good. I just find him a little
Yeah.
bit silly with
Sure.
his social media, which I don't think he even runs, to be honest. I do find it funny that he quit his highly successful job of a novelist to just go after Donald Trump, suppose. Like
Is it,
he announced that he's done writing.
oh, he's retired? I
Yeah,
don't think I knew that.
to focus on his new job of making like anti-Trump videos. It's really strange. I mean, why would you do that? You could just do both. It's
Yeah,
not that
yeah.
difficult to write a book. I mean,
I have two jobs. Why can't Don Winslow have two
it's
jobs?
a really good point. It's a really good point. Um, But we're not talking about Don Winslow. We're talking about you, Justin Lutz, who wrote a book called Give Unto Us. Again, I have to sing it almost as I say it. I'm holding the book up if anyone's watching the video, which I assume I'll put on YouTube. I haven't done many videos, the podcasts, because I don't know. I'm not cool like a lot of podcasts. But you wrote a book. Let's talk about it. If you had, what's the pitch you give people at events? What's the like 2 sentence pitch?
Sure. So if I'm at an event and someone's picking it up, I say it's about a uh, a sentient sand hole that gives something equal or greater than to what's put into it. So there's like a grim economy to it. So this family finds a sand pit in their backyard, and when they start putting stuff into it, sinister things start happening.
What do
So
they usually say when you say this?
they go, "Oh, that sounds wild. Maybe I'll look at this." And then I mean, I haven't gotten a negative response to it yet, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah,
Um,
sounds good to
feels like a pretty
me.
good pitch.
You
Yeah, it
could,
feels like, I mean, you bought it, so it sounds like a pretty good pitch, right?
yeah, I'm. That's pretty much how you pitched it to us, I think.
I think
You could
so.
also potentially get like a response like, "Oh, I just wish I had time to read," and then they just walk away.
Yes, because a lot of
Yeah,
things I do, weirdly enough, I don't do a lot of book events.
yeah,
I did a drive-in movie event recently for
yeah.
3 days, and that went super well. I try to position myself as the only author in a
Yeah, that's a good
that
way
can
to go
help it
about it.
because I find that move, moves a lot of books. Yeah.
I agree. We've done lots of pop-ups around San Antonio, usually not book-related ones, and sometimes we do well, sometimes we don't. I mean, when you do an event that isn't book-related, you do run into a significant crowd of people who just like look at you like, "What do you mean selling these? You can pay me to read."
Right.
But you do get a lot of unexpected surprises, like, oh wow, I wasn't expecting a book about a sand hole, you know?
Sure. And it helps
Yeah.
that the cover you commissioned from Matt is fantastic, and it helps when you have nice covers.
Why don't you talk about the idea behind this? Because this was all you. It wasn't my idea.
It was. I sketched out a shitty little sketch and send it to Matt and you. And I'm avoiding saying his last name because I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Is it Revere or Revert?
I don't know. I think the T is silent
Okay, that's
because
I've
he's all,
intentionally
yeah, I
been
don't know.
avoiding it. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right, Matthew Revere, his house it right now. But I sketched out this shitty thing that's there's a lot of illusions made this time in an hourglass, and it's a sand pit, so I wanted the happiness of the house on the top and like death and destruction and shit at the bottom. So I sketched out a shitty little skull and a shitty little house and sent it to him, and he came up with that fantastic cover.
I mean,
So
it's pretty much the same thing. If I mean, he just
pretty
kind of
pretty close, yeah.
he traced it pretty
Mm.
much. Recently, your awesome wife gifted you with a light of this casual design.
Oh, totally.
Interestingly, not behind you.
No, it's not because my this is boring, but my router is downstairs, so we might have run into connectivity issues upstairs in my office. But
Yeah.
she suggested that. She goes, "Oh, put the neon light behind you." Yeah, she got a local guy in Philadelphia to make a neon light tube version of the cover, and it's pretty fantastic.
It's awesome. I showed it to Matthew, and his response was something like, a lot of people have made some interesting things with my designs, but this is the first time my design has become light.
That's awesome.
He
Hell
thought
yeah.
it was pretty awesome. Um, this whole, like, the concept of the book is a little bit true, right? It's a little bit based on fact, real life.
The initial thrust of it, sure. Um, when we first moved into our house, it rained pretty hard in the first like week or two, and we
Yeah.
noticed that there was a big patch of sand that like continued to kind of bubble up, not bubble, but like work its way up through the grass, and we quickly figured out or deduced that it was a dumped sandbox from the previous owners because there were like toys and stuff in it. But that was it was pretty easy for me to extrapolate and be like, well, what if it wasn't that? What if this was bottomless and it just existed here for whatever reason? So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I,
Weird stretch, but like if writers are listening to this, like we all know that that's the wild stretches we make on something dumb and innocuous like that, right?
it's not that wild. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, totally.
Seems like the most logical route you could have gone.
Yeah, what if this was bottomless? Completely fucking normal.
At what point did you connect the song "A Hole in My Bucket"? Is that the name of it?
Yeah, I guess that's the official title. I'm not entirely sure. Pretty early on because I was in Boy Scouts when I was a kid, so
Oh,
that was like a song we sang at camp, and I thought of it as like an echo or a refrain while I was doing the thing. So it made sense to me to put that as the epigraph of it. Especially once you rejected my Tom Waits quote and said, "Hey, we can't buy this."
yeah. I mean, maybe we could have. I don't know how to contact Tom Waits. Do you? You're the musician.
I do not know.
Oh, I mean, don't you have it? Do you have any songs you've made about holds? That would have been a good thing to quote.
Probably, but that, yeah, I didn't think far enough ahead of that. So
Has there been like a punk version of this song, like by that fucking like me and the Gimme Gimmes or something? It seems like there should have been. Is that the name of the
there should,
band?
me first in the beginnings.
Okay.
You're really close. You're really close.
Okay. I haven't thought about that band in a long time.
Well, there's a lot of Bouncing Souls and that era of punk rock posters behind me, so of
Yeah,
course I know who they are. But um, as far as I know, they haven't done an album tackling old camp songs, but that would be pretty awesome.
they should. Is that a band that still releases music? It was like a mashup of various musicians. Like I know Fat Mike was in
Mhm.
it. I think the guy from MXPX was in it. I'm not
Yeah,
positive.
it's fluctuated. I think there was a Foo Fighter in it at one point. There was a Stiff Little Fingers maybe, or
Okay.
Swinging Utters, like a super group for that tiny niche of stuff, right? Just doing
Yeah.
covers. Um, but a camp songs record would be really cool.
If anyone is listening who's involved in the band, I don't know, you can do it, I guess. We can't stop you. Give us a free download on Spotify. Only now do I realize how come the wife and husband in this book will not name Henry and Liza.
That feels like it's maybe hitting it too close on the nose. And maybe I realized about the song way later,
Yeah.
that I'm giving it credit for. Um, there's no real, I don't know. This is interesting because I'm curious for you too.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any reason to why I name characters anything. I just try to have a name that I haven't used before and something that feels natural, like for them. Do you like intentionally name characters something based on a theme or
No.
yeah, I didn't think so.
It
Me
just
neither.
has to sound like I just have to be okay with typing it 1,000 times.
Sure.
And
I think right.
also, it has to be something I'm okay with, like reading out loud. So, like, if it's a name I know I might like screw up pronouncing, I'm just going to avoid that.
Right. I wonder if writers more intelligent than us intentionally will make a metaphor or a simile or something out of every single name, but like that's not me.
It's exhausting. I'm trying to think
Exhausting.
of names I've come up with. Nope, can't think of any.
Nope. I
Yeah.
I read the sex scene from this book in a bookstore
Oh,
to
yeah.
one of my friends named Melissa, and the wife in this is named Melissa.
So you must be in love with the friend, right?
I not even a little bit, but like it, it was so uncomfortable at the end. I was like, oh, I didn't realize I did this till I was like deep into it. And she goes, no, it's cool, whatever. But it felt strange to talk about a character named Melissa fingering open wounds
Yeah.
with my friend Melissa sitting right in front of me.
Pretty great scene, by the way. One of my favorite scenes I've read in a long time. Maybe my one of my favorite sex scenes. I don't. know if I've ranked them in the past, but maybe I should rank sex scenes I've read. That would be up.
Sure.
Yeah.
If Lit Reactor still existed, I would tell you you should pitch that as an article.
They do now, but it looks like they feel owned by like a pro AI thing. I kind of got into like a public beef with them. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
If
Well,
those
if Lit
Reedsy
Reactor existed with Josh, that's what you. Yeah.
specifically with Josh only, we don't need to talk about the other people involved.
No,
Um,
no. Slippery slope.
I just finished a book and the main woman is named Eileen, and I let my friend Betty read it, and her mom's name is Eileen, and there's really graphic sex in this book, and she kept like, I think she was a little bit uncomfortable with the whole name thing. So, I
Sure,
mean, it doesn't matter what you name anyone, there's going to be someone who has like a personal connection to it.
sure.
Yeah. I mean, you could just be like David James Keaton, who names pretty much every man Jack for some reason. I don't
Oh,
know. He loves
is
that
that
name.
true?
It seems
Oh,
like it is. I don't know. It's like that's his go-to name is Jack. I don't know. If
I,
you, I have a name question. How do you feel about naming Caleb Fields Justin? Like, does that seem odd to you?
it might seem odd to me because I haven't done it yet. I mean,
Yeah.
I consider myself new-ish, I guess. I don't know.
Hmm.
I have like 3 books and a bunch of stories, but I haven't named anyone Justin yet.
Okay.
Have you named anyone Max?
Yeah, once in a book
Yeah?
called Maggot Screaming, and then I immediately named everybody else after my family. So then his son was the same name as my stepson, and his ex-wife, it's the same name as my wife. So it was like a really dangerous slope that I immediately fell down. And it became this whole meta thing that wasn't intentional until I just decided to name this one guy Max. So use caution.
I don't know if I realized that when I read it, that it was your family's names entirely. That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
and like the friends, the same name as like my friends. I don't know. I don't know why I do these things, but
Well, in
yeah.
in in Give Unto Us, it's largely my house and my street and my block that I live on. And my wife Lois posted the book on Facebook, like, oh, I'm so proud of my husband, blah, 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 buy this book. And my one neighbor, Nan, replied to it and said, oh, I can't wait to read it. And I was like, you are Fran in this book, and it is not cloaked at all. It is exactly you. So uh maybe don't read this. So
Do you think he's listening?
I have
Well,
no idea if she is or
yeah,
not yet.
yeah.
Yeah,
She might
there,
be.
she might be. I doubt it, but they're very thinly cloaked versions of the people that live on my block. So
And don't you also have like a restaurant like in like the back of your house almost? What's the setup? Because we
uh,
have something like that in the book as well, and it kind of comes
mhm.
into play.
Oh, it's totally autobiographical. This might be the most autobiographical book I've ever written. There's a small parking lot between my house and a restaurant, and the parking lot is for trying to think how to describe it, like a group home kind of that people live at occasionally, but aren't there all the time. So the restaurant uses that parking lot, shit blows out from their dumpster, like it's all manner, like all the conflict in this book begin as things that I have encountered, like mowing over a napkin that came out of the dumpster from the restaurant and being pissed about it and wanting to put up a fence. So it's if anyone came to my house, they'd be like, "Oh shit, I get all of this." Like
Yeah.
my toilet has a window behind it. So if someone was in my backyard and I was pissing in this toilet, they could look in this window and just see me standing there. Um,
What's the address again?
oh, don't worry about that, Max.
Okay. Uh,
I'll text it to you. Don't you worry.
I mean, I technically know.
I suppose you bill me at that address.
It's oh, it just reminded me. I know we're talking about your book, but talking about like naming things and basing things off of real life. I can't wait for the book I just finished writing to come out because it's about uh, two people in San Antonio who run an indie spooky press called
Mhm.
Fiendish Books, and they do a magazine called Fiendish Tales, and the big like uh stress thing going on in the book is about to launch the debut Fiendish Book Fest. So, I mean, it's really well disguised.
Sure, yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
yeah, yeah.
Is that the Mr. Bones book?
It is, yes.
Yeah.
Supposedly coming out in a few months. We'll see. I was really late to finish it. I finished it last week.
Fair enough.
Um, but now I have all this extra time to do podcasting finally. And that's what's happening right now. Have you thought much about what you would not? Mindy did interview you, and she
Yes.
asked the question that I told Phil to ask you, and you immediately assumed I was trying to get you to talk about sticking your penis in the ground. Uh,
We have
uh,
had that conversation before.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think we have, but not on a podcast.
No.
So the question was, I don't know, where would you draw the line of like what you would stick into the hole in the ground?
So that's a very layered question because
Yeah.
the fellow in the book obviously is very consumed by the power of the pit. So where do you draw the line at that point? Like he throws some pretty sinister stuff in it. Um, I try to pose this question to people who are buying the book or I'm talking to the book about like what is unique to you that you would throw in the pit and what do you think would come back out of it, right?
Yeah.
So my friend David Simmons, who writes fantastic books and is from Baltimore, uh, I told him to throw his grill into the pit and see what comes out, or like his Percocets into the pit and see
Yeah.
what comes out. He said he wants to write a version of it where the whole manifests in Baltimore and just spits drugs all the time. I think it'd be really fun. Uh, but
That'd be pretty.
it's a weird thing to think about what's unique to you to stick into it because Trevor doesn't necessarily have unique stuff. He just has family stuff. Like he is addicted to pills, so he throws them or beers or whatever in it. I guess I might stuff guitars into it and see what happens. I I hesitate to say I would stick any of my cats or my pets into the hole because I don't want to say that, but like consumed by the power of the thing,
Yeah.
Trevor sticks humans in it. Maybe I'd see if Kruger would go down and bring something crazy out, right?
Spoil little given us.
Oh, sorry.
The book that we want you to buy.
The book we're talking about, and you should buy at ghoulish.rip.
I mean, it, anyone surprised by that outcome? What do you think would happen with this premise?
Right.
Come on, it's a spooky
I think so.
novella.
And
It's gonna have some flesh involved.
and if things are
Uh,
written well, I don't think spoilers are a thing.
I agree. Nothing could spoil me besides the sun. Um, I don't like the sun. So it's a pretty cool thing that happens in the book that involves a dog that I really liked. It's almost like the opposite of the dog dying trope, now that I think about it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's
The
pretty
dog,
cool.
dog, dog coming back to life in a lot of ways. Um, so my mom read the book,
Yeah,
and I expected the sex scene to trip her up, and she goes, "Oh, nothing weird." I got real worried about the dog, and I was like, "Mom, I'm never gonna kill a dog in any of my books ever."
yeah.
So she's like, "Oh, thank God, I'll read the rest of them now."
Well, at least she was okay with the sex scene.
Yeah, something about fingering open wounds didn't bother her, but she was really worried about the dog that crawled out of the hole.
I mean, how do you think Evil conceived, man?
I'm saying,
You thinking about it?
I am thinking about it.
Nice.
Lots of sands, lots of pus.
Uh yeah. Do you think she's gonna listen to this podcast?
Absolutely not.
Oh, okay.
I don't think she understands how podcasts work. Sorry,
Uh,
mom, if you do.
I mean, I have faith that she knows. So if you're listening, please leave a review. Yeah. You also, when we were pitching the book originally, we had two comp titles that we would give. Pet
Sure.
Cemetery by Stefan King and The Seinfeld by Kathy Koja. How do those two, I mean, I know, but how do those two books compare to give on to us?
So the Pet Cemetery
Now, wait,
comparison.
when you say that, are you saying it with an S or a C?
Oh, a C for sure. Let's do it
Oh,
wrong. Uh,
fuck.
uh, uh,
That's
the
not right.
the Pet Cemetery conversation comes because it's a young family with a young child. I mean, Pet Cemetery has two children, obviously, but like I think Brody in this book is a gauge kind of comparison, or could
Yeah.
be. I won't spoil anything about what Brody's outcome is, but I guess what I wanted to flip a little bit about that is Lewis and Pet Cemetery like loves Gage, and my protagonist is super resentful of the fact they had a kid at all and how he ruined his life. And that's the flip I wanted to make with that. And then the Cypher comparison is just essentially there's a fun hole in their backyard. It's just a sand version, right? Like
Yeah.
no one sits by it and like waits for anything to come out quite the same way as Kathy's book, but the inspiration for sure of like this unknowable hole that spits stuff out from some unknown universe.
Yeah. Someone obsessing over a mysterious hole. I mean,
Yeah.
it's right there.
Aren't, aren't, aren't we all doing that?
My brother texted me the other day asking me if my wife has any like piercings in her ear, and I just responded back not thinking, yeah, she has holes. That's all I said. He responded back with a blushing emoticon, and he has not said anything else to me. So I don't know why he was asking that. But for the record, my wife has holes. Mysterious.
Mine does also.
Are they mysterious? Are you obsessed?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Yeah, well, I mean, yes.
Yeah. Going back to the child, I think maybe my favorite thing about this book is the main character, the dad, doesn't really seem to like his kid that much. You don't really see that too often in anything, especially like when a new family like moves into a house. Like usually the whole thing is like we'll do anything to protect the family, to protect the new kid. He just seems to really resent the fact that he has a kid. I think I recalled at one point when I was editing the book, I messaged you. I was like, "Hey, do you have a kid?"
I do not. I do not. And that's a lot of just I don't plan on it, and that's a lot of parental anxiety like put into one potential outcome, right? Like resenting the person that you created. And I thought that was pretty interesting because I think you're right. I don't see that too often at all.
Yeah, I mean, even The Shining, it doesn't begin that way. I don't even know if it goes that way. I mean, it's more like I'm a guy possessed by ghosts, metaphorical ghosts, full alcoholism. But I mean, he's not even really an alcoholic. I mean, I guess he kind of is in the sense that a lot of dads are alcoholics. They do drink a lot, but no one mentions, hey, you might be an alcoholic. I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah. Um,
Especially at that time.
yeah. But yeah, it's just refreshing to see someone just shit talk a kid a lot. I like that. Uh, um, it's always my favorite thing, like in a movie, when a grown-up just punches a child in the face. I find that extremely amusing. Like I'm thinking of like Under the Silver Lake, Andrew Garfield beats the shit out of the kid, and
Mhm.
that's always great. Any good child violence movies you would recommend?
Oh, I don't have any off the top of my head, but I do love Under the Silver Lake. I use that as a comp for the first book I wrote, Gemini Rising. A
Oh
lot of
yeah.
people have like been like, "Oh, that sounds a lot like Under the Silver Lake." Um, I think it just was a reaction to like you said, every new family moving into a place is like, "Oh my God, well, we're the first family to ever have a child. Look how precious this is." I was just like, that doesn't sound right at all. Like I can't imagine a world where you don't resent this a little bit or it changes your life, or I just leaned hard into that version of it to kind of
I
subvert that.
recently, within the last like half a decade, two of my closest friends both had several kids. Their lives seem awful now.
Sure.
I don't envy them.
No.
Everything seems awful about them. So, yeah, I guess if I'm trying to promote anything in this podcast, it's the book Give Unto Us by Justin Lutz. But also it's just not having kids. Just don't
Yeah.
conceive.
No, I co-sign that. Don't do it.
Yeah. Do you have anything else you want to promote besides give unto us and also not having kids?
Uh, so that's my newest novella. I also um I publish a zine called Grow Worms that is movie reviews, fiction, uh essays, all manner of, it's like my brain made manifest in a 2 times a year zine. And I
Okay.
think it's really, really fun. It's been going pretty good. So uh
How can people get that? Is that online?
uh yep, through my big cartel, which is justinlutz.bigcartel.com. I have signed books on there. I'm not selling Give Unto Us because I want you to sell it.
You can
So
sell it.
no, I will eventually, but I want you to sell it first.
They could
It's
get it
important.
signed from you.
They could get a sign
Imagine
from me
that.
or at any events that I'm doing around
Yeah.
Pennsylvania.
How'd
So,
you come up with the name of that website?
oh, it's my name. That's
Oh,
how.
sweet, sweet.
Is that?
Pretty.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I thought about it for a really long time and I just settled on the fact that shit, maybe it's easiest if it's my name.
It is. I know. I don't know why I just asked that because I'm a Chernobyl friend. We friends?
I think we're friends.
Okay, cool. I always have to ask.
Yeah, I think we are.
Explain something to me. What is VoidCon? What is this?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. VoidCon is something that me and six of my friends, the Void Collective, do in Huntington, West Virginia. And this year is the second year. And I'm going to find the dates real quick so I do not misspeak. It is at the Hilton Doubletree in Huntington, West Virginia, Friday, September 27th, Saturday, September 28th, and Sunday, September 29th. And it is weirdo authors, black metal bands, indie filmmakers. It's very small convention, but it feels inclusive. It feels like home. Last year was our first year, and it was really fun. And it was small, but it was like really great, and the vibes were really fun. So it's like Joe Koch, Charlene Ellsby, Sam Richard, Weird Punk Books, Filthy Loot goes like
Hmm.
tiny, the tiny like echelon of weird punk and metal publishing, I guess, and filmmaking. So
How did that even come along? Like, what inspired VoidCon? What was the genesis?
well, a bunch of us were published in a black metal anthology by Castain Publishing. The first one was I don't remember what the first one was called. The second one was called Into the Crypt of Rays, which is the one I was in, and a bunch of us were in that. So all of us met at AuthorCon in uh, Williamsburg, Virginia, and we just got along famously. We got hammered in one of our hotel rooms, and we're like, oh, we should just like have a group chat and hang out. And then by the end of the weekend, someone's like, we should go on tour. And that year we did a 4 day um, literary like tour in bars and shit. We did a Chicago, Ashland, Kentucky, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and Columbus, Ohio in like 4 days. It was a lot of driving. It was wild. And then the next year we were like, that was really fun, but we didn't make money. Let's do a con this weekend instead. So it's always an evolving like, how can we hang out once a year all together from
Yeah.
disparate parts of the country? So
What
that's
do you think? What do you think it's going to evolve into from this?
I'm not sure because I hope VoidCon keeps going, but like I also hope we're in like a living document. I hope we always keep moving and
Hmm.
figuring out something new. And it's Edwin Callahan, Evan Dean Shelton, Sam Richard, Michael Tichy, Matthew Mitchell, uh, and OF Sierra are the other people in it. So
Pretty cool. And do you have a website for VoidCon? Like, tickets available? How does someone attend?
the Castain Publishing, did you free? It's the Castain Publishing Big Cartel. So it's a castainpublishing.bigcartel.com. There are tickets on there. There's information on
Yeah.
there. And just reach out to any of us about information. So we're working on the programming schedule now.
How do you think they came up with the name of that website?
God damn it, Max.
How can folks find you online? I mean, I know you said the website. Do you have any social media you want to promote?
Yeah, all my social media is Lose Your Ghost or Justin. Let's just look it up. It's pretty easy to find.
Is
Um,
that a specific reference to anything? Because it sounds so familiar every time I see it, but I can't quite place it.
so it is that band Reservoir that you mentioned that broke up. We have a
Hmm.
line that says "Lose your ghost and keep your head" on
Oh,
our
okay.
demo from from 2010. So I just grabbed it and I kept it this whole time. So
Pretty good name. You should
yeah, it's not so bad.
call a book that.
Maybe I will, and then we'll cross promote and it'll be easy to find everything, right?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I believe that's it. Let me, do you have anything else to add? Any final bits of wisdom? Anything punkish you want to say? Anything to promote your day job as a cop, etc.?
I don't think so. Just keep on keeping on.